Alright guys, so UFC 329 just happened last night, and it was a pretty good event. I quite enjoyed the prelims. My goat Zach Reese got chinned by a blob at middleweight, unfortunately, but we'll be back. Zach Reese is the goat. Damian Pinas got it done. All the things happened. Bobby Knuckles is back. Cody Garbrandt got chinned. The Mr. Loophulson, he got it done. And stuff happened on the prelims, and the main card was pretty cool. We had the McKinney Green fight. That was an absolute banger, bro. Sandhagen Bautista, pretty unfortunate. Sandhagen completely destroying his knee. Bautista gets smashed by anybody in the top 5, I still think. My boy Loney got choked out. He got cardio mogged. It's unfortunate, but he was looking good. Striking still looks good. And then co-main event, we had Patty choking out negative fight IQ, Benoit Saint Denis. Pretty cool. My friends are all Patty fans, so I was supporting him against BSD because nobody actually likes BSD except French people. And then we gotta talk about the main event, and that is why you guys clicked on this video to listen to me talk about how, Conor McGregor got away with it again. He got away with straight daylight robbery against all his casual fans, getting I don't know, the number was 30 million or something. Some random source said he was getting 30 million for this fight. Absolutely insane. And I'm not surprised. I thought Max was just gonna wear him down, survive, the early crazy shit that McGregor was gonna throw in round 1, and slowly just tee off and destroy McGregor over the span of 5 rounds, because that's the only sensible opinion, unless you watch Instagram Reels edits. So it's honestly not very surprising. If anybody with a real brain actually watches mixed martial arts, will tell you McGregor hasn't fought, well, before this, didn't fight for 5 years, and the last time he fought was he broke his leg against the GOAT, Dustin Poirier. So it's genuinely not surprising. You see this guy, he's 38, 5 years off, barely, I'd assume, you can literally just basically assume in your mind, he's, instead of actually doing elite high level training and facing high level competition like Max Holloway, he's been doing cocaine, had a rape case, and he's probably a rapist, and doing cocaine. He had that one little boxing match and everybody was happy because he was back, and trying to heal his leg, taking a bunch of steroids, and it kind of happens when you're 38 taking steroids and you kind of go for a crazy spinning kick like you're 26. It's really not going to work out for you, Conor. I don't know what all you guys expected. I honestly didn't. I mean, I kind of expected it. I expected Conor to just kind of look like shit, and he did. Even that kick he threw looked like shit. It was nothing like he's thrown in the past. He just looked old, and he didn't look very sharp to me throwing that kick. And he was limping out to the fight, whatever, all the conspiracy shit about how he was injured walking in. But what I really want to talk about is how this guy continues to just daylight robbery against all his casual fans. It's insane to me because he still has all these casuals defending him it's their lives are at stake, bro. All the cope, bro. Listen, I'm not happy with how this went. Nobody's happy with how this went. I would have much preferred Max to just, destroy Conor over the span of 5 rounds and, prove it. But, Max got a free, multiple millions, but Connor's getting tens of millions again for doing jack fucking shit, and he's gonna keep having his army of casuals just defending him, claiming cope and all this shit, saying that, oh yeah, Max didn't actually beat him. Connor's just 38 throwing jumping spinning kicks and breaking his leg again. Different fucking leg, by the way. Not the same leg that he broke against Dustin. I don't really know the argument for this, other than, he's old and a dumbass and throwing shit he shouldn't be throwing at 38 because he's cocky and has no idea what he's doing. So, next slide here, just kind of reiterate my point, that McGregor casuals, like, will just never fucking learn from this guy. This guy has been robbing you guys since, I don't know, since, after he won the second belt, this guy has just been using his following just to steal so much money from you guys. I didn't put it on here, but the Floyd fight where he made 50 million to go and just kind of get dismantled by like one of the greatest boxers, one of the better boxers of that generation. And then after he kind of like went away, kept his hype, kept all his casual fans who only know mixed martial arts from him. And then, he kind of crawls out of his cave and to fight Habib. And if you know anything about MMA history, all the way back then, people were saying Conor was going to beat Habib. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm a Habib fan. I'm absolutely not a Habib fan. I'd say I'm more of an Islam fan than a Habib fan, but even then I didn't. I rooted for JDM against Islam. That's a whole different argument. But yeah, this guy came back, um, you know, built up all the hype that he was back and he was going to win his belt back. And it's although it's been a couple years, he's the number one contender, the former double champ, and he's going to come back and he's going to beat who's argued to be one of the greatest fighters of all time. Nope, nope. I don't care if he defended takedowns. He still had the cardio issues. Went out there, got rocked by Habib Nurmagomedov, and then got choked out. And then had like the brawl and shit. Nobody really cares about that. That was literally like almost like a decade ago. Closing in on it. No, more like half a decade ago. What was more than half a decade ago was Conor McGregor's last win, which is the corpse of Cowboy Cerrone. Cowboy Cerrone, who was never good, let's be perfectly honest. Cowboy Cerrone really only did good against shitters in the early 2000s and was given this fight just as an easy payday and return fight for Conor McGregor. I would be honest, if the UFC really cared about Conor's success, they wouldn't have given him Max Holloway, and they would have given him a fight like Cowboy Cerrone. They would have given him somebody like Leon Edwards or Kevin Holland or Michael Chandler. Not even sure if Conor can beat any of those guys because, he breaks his leg on like on a jumping kick. Clearly that probably could have happened against anybody. That literally could have happened against Chandler. That could have happened against somebody like Leon Edwards or Kevin Holland or Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He could come out there and throw like something jumping dumb shit and broken his leg against anybody because he is an idiot. And this guy is still just robbing you guys 5 years later after breaking his leg against Dustin, after getting knocked out by Dustin, after like being a cocaine addict and just partying and doing drugs and doing steroids for 5 years and making his grand turnaround where he turns to Christ and he's redeemed, he's training again, he's flexible, he's back to talking really terrible shit. And he's so back, guys. After 5 years, he's definitely ready for elite level competition. And you guys just will never learn that he was good a decade ago. It's not 2015 anymore, guys. We can't sit here and let this guy just like make these expensive ass main event cards where people are paying tens of thousands of dollars for very shitty front row seats just to have this guy come out here, put on an absolute shitter and injure himself and then just run away with millions and millions and millions of dollars. It's insane to me that you guys, after like all these years, you think you guys would learn that when a guy is 38, after 5 years, breaking his leg, getting knocked out, only win being Cowboy Cerrone. Now he's 1-4 in his last 5 fights, and all those fights were like crazy inconsistent timing wise, like huge breaks in between all those fights except the Dustin fights. You guys will not learn that this guy is not who he was back in 2015 when he knocked out Eddie Alvarez. He is not the same guy. Like you guys don't know what you're talking about. He doesn't have the same karate stance. Even in the Max fight, he didn't even look like he was using his old karate stance, really, at least not to me from like the couple minutes that I saw. He just kind of looked like he was plodding out there. I mean, it's not really fair to say because he injured. And, you guys won't learn that a 38-year-old Conor McGregor isn't going to be as good as he was a decade ago. And, final slide. we caused this. We caused the McGregor downfall. Us, the Diamonds, the loyal Dustin fans. I was there. I picked Dustin to beat Max in the trilogy fight. Very sad. He jumped the gilly, but it's all right. That's a whole different story. But we caused this. We knocked him out. We beat his ass with the calf kicks, and we caused him to break his leg, and we sent him to retirement for 5 years. And basically, Dustin caused Conor to get injured and gave Max Holloway that free win. So, we are still 2-1 with Conor McGregor, and we are still 2-1 with Max Holloway. So, I don't know, guys. Just wanted to talk a little, I don't know, just kind of rant about how this guy Conor is still just like stealing money from his casual Instagram reel fans, and that, he's definitely not as good as he was. He was definitely good, I'll give you guys that, but he's not the same fighter. He's not as good as he once was a decade ago, and he is never going to be that same fighter. If he fights again, I don't know. I'm never going to pick him unless he's fighting an absolute can. If he fights Max Holloway again, I'm picking Max Holloway again because this guy is an extreme liability to himself and to his fan base because all he does is injure himself and do horrific shit. Anyways, that was my video, guys. Definitely going to be making more MMA content soon. My boy Khalil Roundtree's fighting Ankalaev, so definitely expect a video talking about that. And I will see you guys later. Goodbye.